Alright, ready for our next outdoors YouTube video? Right now I'm in KLCC Park, that's Kuala Lumpur City Centre Park. I've just flown to Malaysia, happy to spend here the next 3 months and happy to report to you on a YouTube video on the reason making mistakes is so essentially important to help you improve your English fluency today. Ready for the video? Making mistakes is actually how you improve your fluency in English, because if you don't make mistakes, if you avoid making mistakes, or if you don't get feedback on the mistakes you make, you're just going to repeat the same mistakes because you never learned from them. It's natural if you're scared of making mistakes when speaking English. You and I, we were both brought up in a society where making mistakes is considered as something bad, something to avoid. We are all wired to avoid mistakes in all parts of our lives. The moment a celebrity makes a huge mistakes online, people start blaming them, it makes headlines. Most students' tests are full of red marks pointing out the mistakes they made in their answers, pointing out what's wrong in their answers, never telling people what's right in the way they think or the way they submitted their tests. And sometimes making mistakes could go as far as causing a lot of shame in so many English students. I spent way too much time being terrified of making mistakes, being corrected by other people, being told that what I'm saying is not correct when I was speaking English. And it held me back from becoming a fluent, confident English speaker for years. So I couldn't take all those opportunities to have a better job, have a better paying job, working in a different country, and all sorts of other opportunities that speaking English fluently can allow you to take. So here I am telling you how the biggest mistake about your English learning you could make is to never make mistakes. Hey English learner, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you're a regular visitor. My name is Chubby. I'm an English fluency, learning and language anxiety coach. And welcome to this channel, a channel for English learners who want to learn how to make vocabulary more memorable, how to speak English more freely, more comfortably, more confidently, with the help of listening and spoken communication. So these are topics that you'd like to hear more about. I've got a bunch of videos already existing on my channel, and I upload weekly some new updates on some of the best tips that you could use to improve your fluency. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you get all the updates and become part of the community I'm building on this channel. So why do we keep making so many mistakes when we speak English? Do a promise, depend of, play with my friends in the bar. Most of the mistakes you make in English could be related to your first language, or maybe because you're translating word by word from your first language. And if you were taught English through a lot of translation exercises, or had to take a lot of tests where you needed to learn a translated equivalent of each word instead of learning vocabulary from context, which I always talk about, like in these videos, that's fine. That was how you were taught in school, but we need to remember that in order for you to speak English fluently, you need a different set of skills compared to what we needed in school. And part of that is trying to make sure that you learn from context so you don't fall into the trap of always translating and making mistakes because of all those translations. Translation is not necessarily bad, because eventually it's a nice way for us to use our first language to help us speak English better. I'm going to make a video about this as well, but make sure instead of translating individual words, focus on translating phrases or translating entire sentences. You'll be much more fluent. I have to say, these are some of my favorite trees in the world. Now, this is Malaysian ringgit. The value of this note is can you see that? Malaysian ringgit. Now, what's the value of this note if I fold it? 1 Malaysian ringgit. Now, what's the value of this note if I crumple it? 1 Malaysian ringgit. Now, what happens to the value of this note if I step on it? It's still gonna be 1 Malaysian ringgit, right? You see, the value of this note doesn't change no matter what happens to it. Can you think the same way about your value as a human being and an English learner? That no matter how many mistakes you make, how perfectly you speak English, or how many challenges you face in your English learning journey, your value still stays the same. The hardest lesson I learned in life, and in this video I'm sharing with you more about this, is that however hard I try to focus on doing things better and better and better, I'm never going to be perfect. And that's fine. Because nothing is perfect. If you look at trees and lakes and rivers and butterflies in nature, nothing is symmetrical, nothing is perfect. And all of these things are beautiful in their own way, in their own uniqueness, because they are imperfect. You're imperfect because you're human. And the same goes for your English as well. A language that you're learning as a second or a third language. When you're ashamed of making mistakes, what you're basically saying is that you are ashamed of your humanness. You are ashamed of learning a second language, a language that is not your native language. And you're ashamed of not speaking it perfectly from the first moment you start speaking it. And do you know another thing about why making mistakes and learning from the feedback is so important to embrace? Making mistakes and learning from them is how we learn. Why would your brain change and learn new skills if you were always doing everything perfectly? A lot of research suggests that mistakes are nothing more than signals to the brain. This is not the way to do it, or in our case, this is not the way we communicate. So that's how you learn how not to make the same mistake again, because your brain starts paying attention to the things you made mistakes with. If you're saying, I'm scared of making mistakes in English, and you don't even practice speaking by simply speaking to yourself or having conversations with other people, you risk making those mistakes again and again because you never got the feedback you needed. So you don't even know that some of the mistakes you're making are mistakes. I know it's challenging to get used to speaking in front of others. I used to feel the same way. You're probably like me. You think that when you're speaking English in front of others, you won't be able to control the conversation or control yourself. I know it's challenging to get used to speaking in front of others. You might think that you won't be able to control the conversation or control yourself when things happen, like you start hesitating or you make a mistake. This happened to me and to so many of my students who started working with me. What really helped them is to start gradually shifting their attention to communication, connecting with other people, instead of really focusing on the mistakes and thinking, I'm scared of making mistakes when speaking English. It's going to take some time, but you could gradually shift your focus away from, oh my God, I'm so scared of making mistakes when speaking English, or I'm going to mess this up, to I'll do my best because I've learned so much. I'll do my best and communicate as much as I can to connect with other people and express myself and express what I mean. Shifting your attention will eventually help you gradually build up your confidence when you join a conversation in English without worrying about making mistakes. And as you make them, you can always request feedback from your peers, people you're talking with, or from a professional, so you know what mistakes not to make again. The choice is always yours. You can choose to be a good student who focuses on speaking perfectly, who is scared of making mistakes when speaking English, who feels nervous every time they join a conversation or they don't join conversations at all, and thinks that when they break a rule, the world will end. Or you could choose to become a good learner and realize how much more progress you could make with your English fluency if you learn to calm yourself down, shift your focus to communicating your message and learning from the mistakes you make along the way. And if you'd like to, you can always join our free community, Build Your Fluency. You will see the link in the description below, where you will find out more about how to learn English for fluency and have opportunities to have conversations with other learners from all around the world. So, what will you choose to be? A good student or a good learner who keeps trying, takes risks, makes mistakes, gets messy, and makes faster progress with their English fluency than they thought, so they never have to say, I'm scared of making mistakes when speaking English again? The choice is yours. Let me know in the comments. Or you can choose to become a good learner. What the fuck are they doing all the time? fuck is that? I don't... You and I, we were both... No. How would your brain... Come on, change. Why? Most of the mistakes you might be making in English, you become a good learner and realize